I'm standing here with Sarah Denny, and we are at Portland Nursery on Stark Street. And Sarah, we've got a couple of contraptions out here, and we're going to be talking about gathering worm castings, which is a different concept, isn't it, than regular composting?
It is. Collecting worm castings is done typically inside of a bin, so you can do it inside your home or your garage if you have that available and have limited yard space.
Yeah.
This one is my sister's worm bin here. It's a do-it-yourself, so for the people who are looking for something that's a little more cost-effective and also don't mind getting their hands dirty, this is a really great option.
Well, and I see food.
Yes.
So one of the differences, I think, is that with worm casting bins, you're really getting rid of like kitchen scraps. It's not for like pruning yard stuff, debris. It's not for that. This is really more for, that's why it works well in small spaces.
Yeah, if you were to go out into your yard and take a bunch of scraps, it would be too much for this bin to handle. So it really is good for just keeping, you know, those little food scraps out of the landfills.
Yeah.
The smaller you chop up your food, the easier it is for the worms to digest and work down. But as far as not having enough food, you don't have to worry about that either. So they're very flexible as far as not getting enough food, getting too much food.
Yeah. Because you don't want to really
dynamic.
overfeed them either, though. You want to be aware of that. There's like there's a percentage of worm. The amount of worms has to eat a certain amount, so you have to be aware of that. But the great thing about Portland Nursery is you can do these home ones, can't you?
Yes.
But they're a little messy.
Yes, they are messier.
I'm a guy, so I didn't care. But
and I definitely would start out slow with food. You know, start slow, get a feel for what the worms are doing, and then add from there. You know, if you see food hanging around for too long, then maybe cut it back a little bit.
Sure.
So definitely just pay attention to what's going on with your worms. Now, if you don't want to get your hands dirty and you don't mind spending a little bit more money, we sell bins like these.
This is fancy.
This is very fancy. But it works very well. This is the bottom, so any liquid will go down here and drain out, and you can use that for like a worm compost tea.
Which really is a great product.
Yeah, got lots of stuff in there. And then this would be your starter kit here. So as you can see, there's holes in the bottom to let the moisture run down. This would be your starter pack of a core fiber. You could also use shredded newspaper, corrugated cardboard. Just you fill this up with bedding, you put your worms in, and start slow with your food. As this fills up and as it gets to be, you know, processed, then you would add on the next layer.
Nice.
Then you would do the same thing, fill it with bedding and food, and the worms will actually come up through the holes.
Okay.
So then, and then, you know, we have another layer, so you can just kind of keep that process going. Then you harvest the bottom.
And that's where the worm castings are. That's what
where
you
the
want.
worm castings are. You don't have to dig through the bedding. You don't have to touch the worms.
Nice.
And then you just rinse it out and you can put it back on top.
So they can even buy the worms here, right?
Yes, we sell worms to get you started with.
Nice. And it really, you know, I think too, the greatest thing about this is it isn't for like yard debris. That would really be more composting. This really is convenient for all those kitchen scraps that all of us come up, you know, with every year, especially in the summer with produce and fruit and stuff.
Yeah, and especially people who just don't have the space, like apartment dwellers who have some pots. This is just perfect for container gardening, stuff like that.
And there are systems, but that's the benefit of doing this show is we can send people out here to places like, you know, Portland Nursery where they can get all of their questions answered. And if this is something that intrigues you, go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to Portland Nursery's website and you can get a worm bin started in your own home. Sarah, it's always delightful.
Thanks.
Thank you.